Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BeerSpiracy podcast. This week, myself and the SevenHead were otherwise disposed, so we couldn't join in with the legendary Desert Lizard himself. So he fucking pulled up his bootstraps, got on it, and stepped up to the plate. And if you ask me, he's done a fucking good job. Here he is, the Desert Lizard, and nobody knows where he is.
Okay, so looks like I'm on my own tonight, and yes, I've had a couple of beers. SevenHead and the BeerSpiracy Dave, obviously too busy, so I'm just going to speak a little bit. I think I'm going to turn off my camera because I'm actually having to do this in my cast. I'm drinking a Hobgoblin IPA, which is delicious. So, cheers. Oh, it's fucking nice. And I think this week I just wanted to, just discuss spirituality and being connected, to our fellow beings, our human beings, the people we love the people we love and the people we look after, so I don't know, I guess I'm not a religious man, I don't pray, I don't go to church, but I think I would say that I'm a spiritual person, and I can understand why people follow a religion, and I can understand why people believe what they've been taught to believe. Why wouldn't you believe your parents or your peers? I don't know, but for me, religion just feels manufactured. It's like another way to control humanity. It's another way to divide us, It's not just about control. It's about division, divide and conquer. There's a big, big thing in our world, which is a real shame, but it's true and it's real. There's always something to divide us. And I honestly believe that religion is part of the division, So, yeah, I do believe that we're spiritually connected, and I believe that we're especially connected to the people that we care for and the people that we love. So, just trying to think of an example. Have you ever been thinking of someone and then they just phone you up, or you just see them in the street and you're just thinking, what the heck? I was just thinking about you. It's just like it's like a random feeling that you're thinking about this person, and then your phone rings or your phone buzzes or you bump into them in the street and you're just like, I was just thinking about you. It's crazy. And, it used to happen to me. Not often, but there was one particular friend I had, and he would say, I think I was in my early 20s, and happened a couple of times. I'd just be on my way to the pub, and I'd be walking down the road, and I'd be on the way to the pub, and I'd bump into my good friend Dan. I won't say his second name, but he's a really good friend, Irishman, like proper genuine person, and yeah, I'd be walking down the road, walk around the corner, and I'd see him, and he'd just be sitting on a bench near the pub. And he'd say, I was just thinking about you. And as a young man, I didn't really know how to react to that. I was like, yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah. And I just didn't know really how to react. Like, oh yeah, I was thinking about you. Like, what the fuck? Why are you thinking about me? I'm just a fucking div. I'm just a 20-year-old fucking hooligan. Like I was back then. I was an idiot. Why the fuck are you thinking about me? I just didn't understand it, you know? And yeah, so I was just like, oh yeah, nice one. But yeah, I don't know. I think thinking about it now, it must have meant something. You know, why was he thinking about me? And then I just appear around the corner. And yeah, well, back then I just didn't understand, you know. And I think that maybe the people in your life are there for you, but they're there for you when you need them to be, you know, and they show up when you need them to, if that makes sense. I think it does, you know. And it could be a text message or a phone call or an email, but you know, just to know that, you know, that person's thinking of you, or you might be thinking of them, or you may be spiritually connected somehow. I don't know. Anyway, I've been thinking about this a lot recently because, you know, I live very far away from my family back in London. You know, I'm out here in the Middle East. I've been out here for, I think, 12 years now. And I don't know, you know, sometimes I'll call home. Admittedly, you know, sometimes it's too long in between calls. But, you know, I'll call home and I find that, I think, especially with my mum, she'll say, I just needed to hear your voice. That's just what I needed. I was just thinking of your voice and I needed to speak to you. And I was going to call you, you know, but I called her. And, you know, it's almost like as if I knew she needed me to call, you know, like we're on the same frequency, you know. I know I keep saying, you know, so sorry, but I've had a couple of beers and I think this stuff's just on my mind. But yeah, it's crazy, you know. You know, I've got a theory. I guess it's not a theory, but maybe an idea, if that's the right word. But I like to believe that people who have passed, you know, they can see us when we think of them. So if you can imagine, let me try to explain. I'll try to think of a family member or a friend or great-grandparents, people I've never even really known, like my mother's mum. I never really knew her, but I can see her face from a photograph. And I like to think that if I think of them, they can see me as I am right now. So if I were to just bring up a memory of me at Christmas with my granddad, it was quite religious, and he was a lovely guy, but yeah, if I were just to imagine sitting around the table and seeing my family and the people that have passed, if they, as I think of them, I think they can see me and my memory or just what I'm doing at the time. I think it sort of brings them back to life. I know that sounds crazy, but it's just something I've thought about. So I regularly try to think of people that have passed randomly, like a girl that I used to work with who was only 2 years older than me and tragically, passed away. She was, I think, only 42 years old. She had two young children, a husband, battled with cancer. I sometimes think of her and I think of her hoping that she can see me thinking of her the same way I'll think of my granddads and my nan, my mum's mum that I can hardly even remember. I just remember her from probably when I was 3 years old even. But I try to connect, not even to connect, that's probably the wrong word, but just try to bring them alive through my life, which I know sounds fucking mental. And this is just the opinions of a character that I am, the desert lizard. And I'm solo today. So BeerSpiracy Dave, shout out, is unavailable. And the SevenHead from Kent is also unavailable, which is why you've just got the rambling nonsense from the desert lizard trying to talk about spirituality, which I don't quite understand, but I feel spiritual. And like I said, I'm not religious, but I do feel spiritual. So, yeah, it's crazy. I guess what I'm saying is that sort of love each other. I think we live in this crazy world where kindness is considered a weakness, and sometimes I even believe that myself. I wouldn't say I've been a victim of it, but I've certainly been kind to people where I feel like they think I'm weak, which, it's a horrible thing. Like, I just want to be kind to someone and they think, oh, this person's a weak person. And I think that is quite toxic in the world we live in where, why is it weak to be kind? Why can't you just be kind to one another? Without having repercussions of this person's weak. And it's a sad truth. Yeah. So I guess you need to stay close to your loved ones. Send a text, WhatsApp, pick up the phone. Because I don't know, maybe someone just needs you. Maybe someone just needs to hear your voice. Maybe someone needs to read your text message just to say, hey, how you doing? I'm thinking of you. If you need anything, you let me know. That can mean the world to somebody. That could mean life or death for somebody. You could be feeling like there's nothing left. You're feeling so down, depressed, work is shit. Maybe you don't have work. Maybe you're searching for something's bothering you, and you just get a message, or even a phone call, anything from, your parent or your brother, or your sister, your cousin, anybody just says, hey, how you doing? I'm thinking of you. if you need anything, you let me know. It's such a powerful thing. And it's not just a powerful thing to receive. That it's such an honor to receive that. I would love to have messages from people to say, hey, I'm thinking of you. How are you doing? If you need anything, it's like, not, I wouldn't say a privilege, but it's, someone's thinking of you in that time, in that moment in their life. They're thinking of you and they're letting you know. And it's a powerful thing for that person to do, because they could just think of you. They don't have to reach out. There's so many times that I've been thinking of my brother or my mum or my dad, and I have happy memories of my brother, my mum, or my dad. But sometimes I don't reach out. Sometimes I do. And it's lovely to get the response from them. It's like you send a message, you get a message back. And it's also nice just to receive a message. It's very rare for me. I must admit, it's I seem to have to, not always, but have to initiate the conversations between family. And I get it. People are busy. People lead busy lives. I'm busy. Months can go by where I think, whoa, I've not spoke to my mum in 12 weeks. Going to send my mum a message. Or sometimes it's just, a WhatsApp, or it's a phone call. What I find is the phone call out of the blue is the best. It's that unexpected phone call where it's, hello? And it's like, hey mum, it's me. Russ, is that you? And that to me is brilliant. But it also makes me feel at the same time that, that I don't call often enough. And I think we need to. And going back to the spirituality, I think we're all connected. And I honestly believe that you can be on the same wavelength as someone, and you can both be thinking of each other, and almost not telepathically, but you can almost sort of communicate without verbally or, sending messages to each other. You can communicate, and it's a strange and, bizarre thing. And it's also special. Sometimes I communicate with my family through dreams. It's like I dream about them, and in my mind I've been, there's been no disconnect between us. Anyway, this is Desert Lizard rambling on about spirituality, and what I'm just trying to say is, you need to love each other. You need to love your family, take care of them, be there for them. And just love each other. And be kind. Be kind to each other. Kindness is not a weakness. Too many of us are conditioned to believe that, you're weak if you're kind. It's not true. There are many kind things you can do without being weak. Such a unusual place we live in. It feels sometimes like it's almost like war games. And sometimes, honestly, I feel like it is. It's like it's like a battle, we I don't know, from day-to-day life, it should be pleasant. You should be nice to people. You should help the old lady up the road who needs some help, or you should offer your seat on the bus to the pregnant lady, and it's just like there's this attitude nowadays of it's almost like people won't help anyone because they feel hard done by. They feel cheated out of some kind of privilege. I don't know. It's a weird feeling, but I see it, and I've lived it, and I've felt it myself. It's you feel like you deserve more than you've got, and you feel like you've worked hard enough for what you should have, but you haven't got. And you feel like for the rest of your life, you're going to work just as hard as you're working now and maybe not get the rewards for it. It's a crazy situation. And it's true. You work so hard in your life, so hard, and you try to take the opportunities that are given to you, but there's obstacles. There's tax, there's government, there's national insurance, income tax, council tax. Everyone's got their hand out, and everyone's the government. So the government is basically got their hand out, and you feel hard done by. People say, "Oh, you pay your taxes," but you don't. You don't pay your taxes. Your taxes are taken from you. You get your salary and you get your paycheck, and you open up your paycheck and it says, "Here's what you earned." Maybe you earned £3,000 this month. Whoa, here's 40% tax, income tax to the government. Here's national insurance. What's that now? Maybe 10%. All of a sudden, you've been working 40, maybe 45 hours a week for your salary. You get your £3,000. After your deductions, you're left with 1,500. Petrol's gone up. Inflation's gone up by 7.5%. People feel hard done by. They think, what's the point? And there's such a disconnect now spiritually between people, because it's almost like we're so divided. There's people on trains even. You have the people in the suits. Maybe they're, city workers, and they're sharing the same train as people who are skilled workers. You've got skilled workers, like builders, architects, carpenters, maybe not dressed the same as the city workers, but they're sharing the same carriage. And, there's a disconnect between people, just by the way they look. But we're all part of the same machine. We're all part of the same life, the same organism. I believe we're spiritually connected, and I just wish we could be more at one, I think, with each other. It's just a thought I've had. Anyway, don't want to be a depressing bastard. There are lots of things to appreciate in life. I've tried to look more towards nature. I've got a wonderful tree in my garden, a massive tree. It's probably I'd say 25 years old, which, isn't old for a tree, but it's a desert tree, grows from the sand, doesn't need much water, and it's just full of life. I sit in my garden and I look up at this tree, and there's probably, I don't know how many flocks of birds, different species of birds, but in the morning the tree comes to life with chirps and the bird call, the first call of the morning. And I love to water my garden. I love to water the grass, and then just sit back and watch. And the birds come down, and they're drinking the water from the grass, and they're pecking at the grass for bugs and for maybe worms. And in the evening, they all go back to that same tree, and they have a slightly more melodic call. I'd say more of a come home call. Come on, come on, come home. It's time for bed, than it is in the morning where it's wake up, wake up, wake up. It's time to go out and, build a nest, get some food, provide. And it's just wonderful to see nature, at its rawest, to see birds, to see the birds in the trees and the bugs on the ground. And behind the tree, I have to water the tree, and just behind the tree, there's a mosquito nest, which, I don't like. I get bitten, my daughter gets bitten. And when I water the tree, the mosquitoes come alive, they fly out. There's a spider that will retract from sort of the bottom of its web string, and it will go to the top. But it's just wonderful to see nature. And I just feel connected to nature and to people. I don't know, more spiritually now than I ever have done. I think probably since we started the podcast, speaking to SevenHead's just a wonderful person. I've known him for many years. We went to school together, and we didn't click at school, but we've we've grown very close, and I consider him one of my best friends. And BeerSpiracy Dave as well. I've not known him long, never met him in person, but we click. I consider us brothers. I love them both. It's just nice when you find people who are the same as you, who can appreciate you, not take the piss when you come to them with something and say, do you know what? Did you see this about this subject? Not just to be shot down like maybe your friends in the pub or your brother who doesn't really know anything. Just to have that backing where they say, do you know what? I haven't seen that, and I don't know much about it, but I'll look into it and I'll get back to you. And if they get back to you and they say, do you know what? I don't think much of that. It doesn't really make that much sense. But they've given the time to look into it. That's all you want. What I don't appreciate is if you go to someone who you care about, someone who's close to you, with a subject that resonates with you, something that you feel strongly about, and you go up to that person and you say, do you know what? Have a look at this. Tell me what you think. And they just come back and go, you're a fucking dickhead. That stings a bit. And I've had that before with the things that BeerSpiracy Dave, SevenHead and myself discuss. We're all open to reason. We look at things objectively, and if we think it's bullshit, we'll call it out and we'll say, I don't believe it, it's bullshit. But we've given it our time and our thoughts and we've looked into it. We're not always going to agree on everything. And that's what's good about this podcast, the BeerSpiracy podcast, is that we're three unique individuals who have our own opinion, but we're not scared or, we don't mind talking about things that are new to us. And we'll always give it our full attention. We'll give it our 100%. If I send something to SevenHead and I say, have a look at this, I know 100% they'll look into it. And if they come back and they say, no, I don't agree with that, then that's fine. And we'll have a discussion. Same with BeerSpiracy Dave. It goes three ways. We discuss things. We don't agree on everything, but that's what we're about. We're open to discussion. And that's what's wrong with today's culture. There's so many people that are just closed-minded. They're not open-minded. They are closed-minded. They believe 100% the mainstream media narrative without even questioning it. It's like there's so many things that are so obviously that it's either propaganda or it's falsified and it's just pushed in your face. And so many people, they just swallow that pill. They swallow that blue pill and they stay in fucking Wonderland, and it's like, where the fuck is the thought process? Can you not see the bullshit? Can you not understand the fucking manipulation of what is going on? So that's what this podcast is all about, people. The BeerSpiracy podcast. We discuss different topics and we're open to your ideas too. So listeners, if you've got anything that you want to discuss, some things we've not even touched on, we touch on a lot of things. It's like the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, I don't know, flat earth, and there's a lot of things we touch on. If there are things that you guys want to discuss, maybe even things that we've never even mentioned before, then we're on Discord now. So reach out to us on Discord. We're the BeerSpiracy podcast. And just send in your theories, your questions, anything you want us to discuss. We're open to any kind of discussions. We're not closed-minded. And no matter how bizarre or unusual you think your subject is, and maybe you feel alone, maybe you feel like, I can't discuss this with my parents or my brother, they're going to think I'm crazy. Discuss it with us. We are open-minded people who will look into any theory and discuss it objectively. We're not out to mock anybody. We will discuss any subject objectively. And, we'll try and fucking have a laugh doing it at the same time. We have some banter. Today it's just me. Today it's just the Desert Lizard. The other guys, they're unavailable today. But probably why it's so fucking depressing. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to keep the spirits high at the same time as touching on subjects. But yeah, it's just me. And yeah, any listeners out there, if you want to get in touch with us, you can get in touch with us. Anything you want us to discuss, send it on Discord. We're on Discord, the BeerSpiracy podcast. And we love you guys. SevenHead, BeerSpiracy Dave. I've gone on a bit of a rant tonight, probably fucking made an idiot of myself. Div. that I am. But I just wanted to come on and talk about spirituality because I'm not an old man, but the more I age, the more spiritually I feel towards things. I don't believe we're just a fucking random cosmic sneeze. Oh, a big bang. Oh, there was nothing exploded. Just rewind that back a second. Nothing. There was nothing, and nothing exploded. What the fuck are you talking about? How can nothing explode and make everything? Come on, you mug. I'm a religious person, and I've said it before, but I do believe there is something, there's something that has I wouldn't say a say. There's something doesn't have a say, but there's definitely an intelligent design. If you just look into the Fibonacci sequence, I mean, this pattern, this re-emerging pattern into almost everything that's natural, Fibonacci sequence is, and then you tell me, no, nothing exploded and made everything. There wasn't water, and now there's water. Like, what the fuck? Come on, man. There's a fucking pattern. It's like DNA. It's written into all of us. Anyway, I'm not going to go on about it, but that's just my feeling. I'm not a religious person because I do believe religion, manipulation tool to divide us. There's this religion, this religion, this religion, this religion. Fight about it. Do you know what I mean? How fucked up is that? And people do. They fight about it. And then, fucking hell, my throat. Anyway, guys, I'm going off on a mad rant, and I shouldn't. All I'm trying to say is fucking love each other. Look after each other. We're all connected spiritually, one way or another. Your sister and your brother. Thought I was rapping there. I was rhyming. So, thank you for listening to the BeerSpiracy podcast. This is the desert lizard, the fat man who lives in the sand. I love you all. Please get in contact if you want to discuss anything. And I'll see you next week. BeerSpiracy Dave and SevenHead. I wish you all the best. And I'll see you next week, guys.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence to let them in, chalk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, I to stay on the go. I came to play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me. Then I double up again, none of their nose, none of them cold. They just got lucky but never adapted, so I'm to the one if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close, I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat before we ever spoke, I'm ready for smoke. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now they ain't go harder than me, they need a blade in a sheath, a shank in a piece, a crate full of heat, an army, a fleet, a tank and a jeep, a navy at sea, with ace a marine, an ace up their sleeve, a team of marines, a freak on a leash, a beast with an appetite, razor for teeth, and still they would lay at my feet. Boy, you got the wrong one. I gotta look over all of my publishing statements for Q1 as soon as the song's done. I gotta call up my mama and tell her I made it as soon as my log's done. I gotta read all my trade publications and sip my tea till it is all done. I think it's all fun. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George. I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse. I'm ready for war. I'm coming for throats to turn to a ghost. I need to know everything.